12 million jobs in 4 years. This is among the promises that presidential candidate Mitt Romney is making along the campaign trail. Plus, he'll repeal the Obama health care plan and will try not to raise taxes. Some questions: how he'll actually get this done. Glenn Hubbard, who helped write the Romney economic plan, has some answers. He's one of 2 economic advisors, and the New York Times is calling him Romney's go-to economist in a new profile. He was the architect behind the Bush tax cuts, and some worry the Romney plan looks very familiar. Let's get into it. Glenn Hubbard joins me now in a first on CNBC interview to talk about that and a lot more. Glenn, it's good to have you on the program. Thanks so much.
Thanks. Pleasure.
So let's talk first about Romney's economic plans and the promise that he can lead a situation to create 12 million jobs in 4 years. You say it's possible. How?
Well, it's not only possible, the country's done it many, many times in recoveries. We're just not doing it in this one. To have a pace of 250,000 jobs a month on average is easily possible if we had a different policy mix that reduced policy uncertainty, got the budget house in order, and did tax reform. We've done this many times in the country. Okay,
so in terms of specifics, in terms of projects that you think Romney will okay, and that would get jobs going, does it include energy? Talk to us about sort of specifics, because lots of people want specifics in terms of how he's going to get those jobs going.
Sure. Going through the specifics, first on the tax side, making our corporate tax system much more competitive leads to investment and job creation here in the United States. The general cut in marginal tax rates the governor advocates will increase small business job creation. And then on the energy side, removing and improving energy regulations that would limit domestic production and distribution, particularly in natural gas, are also big job creators. The governor said he would move forward on many trade agreements that the administration has let slip. So all of this across the board, very, very much pro-growth and very much what the economy can do.
And the point is to get back to growth, and once you have a growing economy, that will create the revenue required to actually put a dent in the deficit. Is that what you're saying?
Well, no, the dent in the deficit in the Romney plan comes from 2 places. One is reducing the trajectory of government spending, and the second is broadening the tax base. Yes, faster growth will increase revenue, but tax cuts don't pay for themselves. Tax reform requires base broadening, and bringing it on the deficit requires hard choices on spending, as Governor Romney has said.
Absolutely. So, you know, I'm looking at this New York Times piece, Glenn, and Martin Bailey was one of the critics of the Romney economic plan, and he's basically saying that the plan looks a lot like the Bush plan, the tax cut plan out of President Bush. He says that the tax cuts left the country without the wherewithal to battle that great recession. So how do you look at Martin Bailey's criticisms and come up with plans to offset that? What answer to that?
Well, first of all, Governor Romney is proposing a very different plan from President Bush. Governor Romney is proposing to decelerate the rate of growth of government spending. As we know, spending accelerated in the Bush years. I don't think a desirable thing at all. Second, Governor Romney is proposing tax reform. It does cut marginal rates, that's correct, but it also broadens the tax base. This is much more akin to Bowles-Simpson or the 2005 President Advisory Commission, the kinds of things the country used to talk about as the gold standard.
Do you think that Governor Romney is going to be articulating all of this tomorrow night? There is a real push. The media wants specifics on his economic plan, and we know that the president has been gearing up for tomorrow night's debate after the last debate where many people said he did not do as well as the governor. What are you expecting from Governor Romney tomorrow night?
Well, I expect Governor Romney to continue to do what he has been doing, which is to articulate a clear pro-growth message, category by category, and explain how it leads to growth and jobs. You know, if you look at the economic report of the president under President Obama, he too claims he could create 12 million jobs. But seriously, does any economist believe that the policies he's proposing could possibly lead to that? I think that's the kind of tension you'll see.
And another topic of much debate, of course, is that fiscal cliff. Christine Lagarde has been warning about it. She talked about it again. We're going to have that interview coming up when I saw her this weekend in Japan. How can both sides come together on this issue? I mean, you know, if we constantly see fighting on both sides of the aisle, nothing gets done.
You're absolutely right. We should not be going through this. We first have a crisis of leadership. And I think what Governor Romney said is, look, if he's elected president, he'll work with the Congress to get a tax plan and a budget plan that meets the objectives. Whether President Obama wins or Governor Romney wins, the two sides have to come together and get this done. We've had a failed leadership.
What about your own plans? A lot of talk out there that you've been named among the front runners to take over from Federal Reserve Chairman Ben Bernanke or even Treasury Secretary if Governor Romney does win the White House. If offered the plans, would you take those jobs?
Well, I think the New York Times story had this psychedelic 1960s look, and I look more like President Eisenhower. I frankly am very happy in the job that I have.
Well, you've been advising Governor Romney. What's the end goal there?
To make Governor Romney president of the United States. I think he would be an excellent leader from an economic perspective.
And you think we will actually see a difference in 2013, 2014, and beyond as a result of those policies over President Obama's?
Definitely. There is just no doubt in my mind that if we move to pro-growth policies, we will see the kinds of recoveries we've seen before. You know, it is not true that it's inevitable to grow more slowly after a financial crisis. It's simply not true.
But the president has been on the campaign trail. I believe it was today or yesterday that he said he's 18 times.
But the president has proposed raising taxes on small businesses around the corner. If you add up his small business tax increases, they trump anything he's ever done. A great study by the American Enterprise Institute on this just this week.
But he is being, he is looking at people in the eye and saying, I've cut taxes to small business 18 times. So I don't understand. I mean, who's right here? We've got our Scott Cohen on the Truth Squad, but he's saying it on the campaign trail right now as we speak. So what's the answer? You're saying it's absolutely not true.
It's absolutely not true. He has proposed large tax increases on small businesses going forward. Those tax increases will make it harder for them to create jobs and harder for them to invest. There's simply no way to sugarcoat that.
No way to sugarcoat that. Tell me one of the most important things you want to come out of tomorrow night's debate on Governor Romney's side. What is the most important thing you think he's going to be saying to convince the American people of something that you believe, that he should be the president?
Well, I think two things. One is clarity about his own economic vision, which I believe is strong and the right one. And the other is to ask the president simple questions. Which policies is he proposing that could actually raise growth? How would he plan to pay for the spending increases in his budget only by raising taxes on high-income people? The numbers just don't add up.
All right, we'll leave it there. Glenn, good to have you on the program. Thanks so much.